What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and I'm feeling pretty dirty. I should be feeling pretty fresh and clean because I just got another haircut yesterday, but I also just got done cutting the grass. I feel like I got grass all over me, so hence the fact that I'm feeling dirty, and I bring that up because today's video is probably going to be just that. Dirty. We're getting ready to do a video today that I never in a million years ever thought that I would be doing, how to snitch. But before we go any further, I gotta let you guys know like the backstory of why we're doing this video. First of all, you know, it is not my intention with doing this to actually teach somebody how to snitch. Unfortunately though, I do realize this probably and in all likelihood will teach somebody how to do just that, how to snitch. The only reason that we're doing this video is because I ran across something on the internet. I want to share this with you guys. It is basically about how to snitch. I ran across this by accident. I was looking for a background for a previous video that we did. I was looking for a probation background, and then I ran across this right here on Wikihow, which I think is affiliated with Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure it is. But I'm guessing that on Wikihow, you can learn how to do anything. Now, they don't necessarily title this how to snitch. And in fact, what they title this article is how to find someone's probation officer. And you just gotta ask yourself, or at least I ask myself, you know, why would you really need to find somebody's probation officer if you weren't trying to tell on them? And mentioning that, I wanna say this as well. You know, look, when it comes to telling on somebody, it's a 50-50 type of a thing right here. 50% or hopefully 50% of the time, if you're gonna tell on somebody, hopefully it's gonna be for good reason. Because that person deserves to be told on. They've done something against you, against somebody else. They're planning on doing something against somebody else or against you. Like, there are justified times to be telling on somebody. But then on the flip side of the coin, or on the other hand here, you've got the other 50%, which is like not justified at all, completely out of spite, only because you're trying to get this person in trouble or see them fail, or maybe you're vindictive for whatever reason. And in this video, as we go through this Wikihow article on how to snitch, how to find somebody's probation officer, I'm gonna share with you guys some stories from my own personal experience where I was definitely told on and told to my probation officer completely out of spite, not for the right reasons at all. I can understand if I was doing something. Actually, you know what? We'll just have to wait till we get to that part of the story, and then you guys decide for yourself. Was it justified or was it completely out of spite? So let's go ahead and dive. Hello, police. Yes, I'd like to report some information. Head first up into this tutorial that I hope nobody will take heed to, but I do hope you'll find entertaining. How to find someone's probation officer. They open up this article saying, criminal records and probation information are public record in most states. Therefore, you have every right to know the name of and how to contact someone's probation officer. Do you have every right? Because what if that person is living right and you just don't like them? You ain't got no right at all to go meddling in their life or being nosy. Oh, that's Mr. Guerrero over there. Yeah, I know he's a convicted felon. He talks about it every single day on YouTube. I wonder if he's got a probation officer, and if he does, what their name is. No shot at my neighbors. I was just using that as an example. They've actually been quite nice. Nobody waves anymore, though. This article says you've got every right to know who a person's probation officer is. And they also say you could ask the individual directly for the name of their probation officer, and I'm sure that's going to go over real well. Oh, so you're on probation? What you was charged with? Drug charges. Wow, you've been to prison too? Wow. 7 years. What's your probation officer's name? No reason at all. I was just curious. You know, there's certain questions you don't go asking people. They say you don't ask a woman her age. It don't matter how old she looks like she is. Damn, girl, how old is you? You look like you every bit of 50. 26. Wow, you must have lived the roughest and hardest 26 years ever. 26 for real, though? And you most certainly don't be asking nobody who the probation officer is unless, you know, you on probation as well. You're a part of the F club, the F team, the felony club, unfortunately, and on probation. You know, if you're in the probation office and you're sitting there kicking the bobo with the dude, hey, yeah, what's up, man? God, I swear, I hope my PO don't test me today. I ain't study if you get my drift, you know what I mean? I ain't do no studying. You know, you might ask somebody who their PO is. Oh, you ain't studied though, for real though? You ain't studied? Hey, who's your probation officer? But that's probably just not gonna go over too well. They say you can ask somebody directly for the name of their probation officer, but in some cases, that may not be possible or a wise choice. I don't think it's a wise choice neither. But this article is going to show you how to accomplish this without a person's input or permission. They don't include permission, but they should have. And again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Why would this article exist if it wasn't reading between the lines, how to snitch? Step number 1. Oh, we've got visuals, little cartoons right here. Confirm the full name of a person on probation. The guy you know as Bubba Jones may actually be named John Smith III. How the f*** they get Bubba Jones out of John Smith III? Many people use nicknames or aliases in daily life. You know, nobody calls me Joe out here. They call me J Money or J Smooth. Sometimes even just their middle name instead of their given name. So you need to confirm the person's full name first. Number 2, determine that the person isn't in prison. See, this don't make no sense. If you're trying to find out a person's probation officer, if they're in prison, I don't see how this fits into it. Because if you're in prison, you don't got a PO. You're doing time. You ain't worried about no probation officer while you locked up. And whoever's trying to find your probation officer while you locked up need to mind their damn business. This article got me mad already, and we ain't but on number 2. Determine if the person isn't in prison. They say sometimes people bounce back and forth between prison and probation. Oh, you just saying that people who serve time just ain't gonna do right at all. In most states, you can check by visiting the Victim Information and Notification Everyday website, also known as Vine. I thought Vine wasn't a thing anymore and TikTok took over. That was almost a tongue twister right there. TikTok took over. Cody, set me up a TikTok account. Number 3, note distinctive features. And folks, I love these illustrations. Look at this blue-eyed, blonde-haired white dude right here. What are they trying to say? He's got a teardrop tattoo and a generic tribal tattoo on his neck. Even if you don't know the person's name or alias, you can identify someone through physical details, such as distinctive tattoos. Correction departments keep descriptions and aliases of their guests on file. Is this article trying to say that prisoners in a prison ain't really prisoners, but they guessed? You know, I've actually heard quite a few officers say a time or two, "You a guest up in my house. This ain't your house. I run this. You a guest." Man, I'm doing 7 years. What you mean I'm a guest? If I'm a guest, then let me leave. And they can help you make the right identification. So let's just look at this picture and what they said in that last sentence. Correction departments keep descriptions and aliases of their guests on file, and they can help you make the right identification. If you call a prison and say you're trying to find the name of a dude that's a white guy, he's got blue eyes and blonde hair, he's got a teardrop tattoo and a tribal piece on his neck, yeah. Look, I get the fact that you really want to tell on this person. I mean, they're probably already in prison if you think they could be locked up. Why are you trying to get this person more time? And plus, it sounds like at least half of the white guys in this prison right here. Look, ma'am, I'm going to need more information. Hello? This hung up on me. Number 4, search bad charges offender registries. Each state has a bad charges offender registry. Searching the registry will tell you where the person lives. What if they ain't got the bad charges and they don't have to register on that? But you know, if a person's taking this much initiative to find out a person's probation officer, RIP to whoever they about to give up some information on. You going down harder than the Titanic or anybody that Tekashi is telling on up inside of the courtroom. You're going down. Number 5, get the probationer's email address. And this one's really interesting. They say this may be available on social media websites such as Facebook or Twitter. After you locate the email address, you can do a reverse email lookup. Boy, you are putting in some work, I'm trying to tell you. They say you can also do a reverse lookup if you know the person's home address or telephone number. This is actually kind of scary right here. I can't believe they got this kind of information on the internet. And what's even scarier is people are doing this stuff. Whether you're trying to tell on somebody or you're trying to stalk them, yo, people is doing this. Number 6, determine the probationer's location. Find out which county and state the person has probation. This will generally be in the county where he lives. Probation departments are organized by jurisdiction. And in this picture, we've got a little location indicator with the person's picture right there. Found them. You're going down. You're going down. It was that teardrop tattoo all along. You couldn't be trusted. They call this part 2 of 2, finding the probation officer. Folks, Look at this picture right here. I'm guessing the person in white is the probation officer who is looking so intently and engaged in the conversation from this scorned ex-girlfriend who is in this probation officer's office spilling the beans completely out of spite and vindictiveness in an effort to get her ex-boyfriend locked up. Yeah, I'm mad. I've been through this, as a matter of fact, myself. Before we go into part 2 of 2, I want to share with you guys a story. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. You guys let me know whether you think this was justified or whether you think this was completely out of spite. But I had an ex-girlfriend. She was a horrible person. She still is. She'll never be a good person, especially for what she did. And we had a very we had a very bad relationship. A lot of on and off between me and this chick. And this was a very long time ago, but I'll never forget it. But one time during the time that we were not together and I was trying to get this chick completely out of my life, she would call me and tell me that she wanted to talk to me. I didn't want to talk to her. She said she wanted to talk to me in person. I said I definitely didn't want to do that. But I decided, what the hell? If I'm going to talk to you in person, we're going to meet in a public place. That way you can't put hands on me, because she used to beat me up. I met this chick in the mall. We sat down on a bench. And I said, what did you want to talk to me about? What was so important that we had to talk face to face? And she said, look, I want to let you know that you don't never need to go see your probation officer again. And mind you, this was during the time when I had 3 years of probation that would take me 7 years to complete. During this time, I had a horrendous probation officer. She was horrible. I got violated by this chick 3 different times. They say anytime that you get violated, you shouldn't end up with the same PO because that's a conflict of interest. And they already got a bad taste in their mouth anytime that they utter your name. I had this chick 3 times. This ex-girlfriend said, you ain't got to go see your probation no more. I said, what you mean? I'm still on probation. That doesn't make any sense. She said, well, I called your probation officer. You called my probation officer? You told her something good, right? Because if you're telling me I ain't got to go see her no more, you must have told her something good. Well, no, I didn't tell her anything good. In fact, I told her the exact opposite. This chick would go on to tell me that she called my probation officer and told her that I was out in the free world doing drugs, selling drugs, and robbing people. You know, if you think about things that your probation officer is not going to ever want to hear about you, those are 3 things right there they definitely ain't going to want to hear. And this chick done called my PO and told her this. Now, whether or not I was actually doing these things is beside the point. I kind of was doing some of them, not all of them. So, you know, maybe she was justified for making this phone call, but this chick straight up snitched on me, and that wasn't right. When she told me this, my reaction wasn't very surprised because this chick was crazy and I would expect nothing less. But as soon as she told me, she began getting hysterical and crying like, I'm sorry, Joe, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to call your probation officer and tell her those things. But you did, though. So how can you say you didn't mean to do it? You intentionally did that. You premeditatedly and you absolutely meant to do that. I'm so sorry. We can fix this. We can go to Mexico. We can go to Mexico now. You can now leave the country. Yes, you'll be a fugitive for the rest of your life. We can get you out in the trunk of the car, but we can go. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I was hearing this bullshit nonetheless. I told this chick, I said, hey, look, it's okay. It's okay, calm down. We ain't going to Mexico. I don't even want to be around you, but we got to be around each other now. And if you want to make this situation right, you know, we can do that. When I go see my PO, because I think I had to go see my PO like shortly thereafter, you're going to come with me and you're going to tell her that all this shit, you just made this up because you was mad at me. And in fact, the girl would actually tell me the reason she did this was because she was mad at me. So, you know, look, this was completely out of spite why this person did this. And folks, I will never forget when I went to go see that probation officer. I'll never forget. It was in the afternoon. The lobby of the probation office was packed. The probation officer came out. It was me and the girl. We were sitting right there. It wasn't my turn. She was calling somebody up before me. So she calls the guy up before me. And as she's calling his name, she is completely just staring through my being. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson. And also keep in mind, back then, you couldn't really tell me nothing. I was young and them streets had me. They had a grip on me and they was not letting go. So I was completely thug life for life. Hey, I don't even know what you look at. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I don't even know what you looking at me like that for. Everything's gonna make sense. Everything's gonna make sense when you call me back there. She gonna tell you everything she need to tell you. Stop looking at me. Take care of Mr. Johnson. I'm looking right back at you. Okay, I'll look away. She was intimidating, I ain't gonna lie. And she also used to try to mom me too, so I'm not going for that. Don't be trying to mom me. The probation officer called me back. I brought the girl back with me, and she told the probation officer was ready to go in on me. She was like, Mr. Guerrero. Shh. Shut your bitch ass up. Before you go any further, this girl got something she want to say to you. And the girl would tell the probation officer she made everything up. She was mad at me. And then for once, probably the only time as well, I wasn't the one that the probation officer was yelling at. Probation officer was yelling at her, and I thought this was the greatest thing in the world. Do you know what you could have done? You were gonna ruin this young man's life. You are gonna ruin this young man's life. Do you know how serious what you did is? And even though this chick was taken up for me, the probation officer, I call her a chick, she was a little bit older. Even though this woman was taken up for me, I started yelling too. And I'm not yelling at the girl. I'm yelling at the probation officer.
Do you know what you could have done?
You were gonna ruin this young man's life.
You ain't never took up for me with the other two violations.
You never took up serious
for me.
what
All
you did
was
is.
violate. You just want to see me get locked up. I don't even know why you're on my side.
So I can relate to this article right here, and not for any good reasons neither. But back to part 2 of this, where it says finding the probation officer, this picture of, the probation officer looking intently into the eyes of this cartoon, sadistic woman. Hell hath no fury like that of a scorned woman. Here she sits in this probation officer's office. He's already got his pencil ready to write down violated. See you later, you're violated. Number 1, determine if the probationer committed a state or federal offense. Well, maybe he did something. I just don't like him. Can we just get him locked up and say he did it? If he committed a federal crime, then he would have a federal probation officer. If you don't know, ask around to find out what the offense was. Generally, crimes like murder are state offenses. Bank robbery and drug trafficking are typically federal offenses. Number 2, contact the appropriate probation department. If the probationer is serving probation for a federal offense, then you should contact the federal probation office. Number 3, request to speak with somebody's probation officer. Let's go ahead and take a look at this picture right here. This guy is smiling. The chick is smiling. Whoever is the probation officer and whoever is the rat, it doesn't matter because both of these people are smiling. And I believe the guy in the white shirt is actually the rat because he's talking to this woman, and there's a little bubble with a police officer and a question mark like, well, can I call the police? Can we get him locked up? Yeah, I'm super smiling about this. This is fun. Says the guy in this picture right here. How can you sleep at night knowing that you're trying to get somebody locked up? That person will direct you to the staff member best able to help you identify which officer you should speak with. Every picture has somebody different in this. So we go to number 4, which says share the information you have. Hence the title of this video, How to Tekashi 6ix9ine Someone. In this picture, we see a different person entirely talking about the white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes with the teardrop tattoo and the generic tribal peace tattoo on his neck. We can barely see it in that word bubble. Another red question mark. Who this person is talking to looks like a telemarketer. Look, let me tell you something. Ain't nobody working up in the probation office like they working for QVC answering the phone. Hello, thank you for calling probation and parole. Who do you have information on? Who would you like to see get locked up today? Can we interest you in our special tell on 2 people and receive a 15% discount on whatever the hell they could be selling? If you know the probationer's name, this will be simple and straightforward. If you don't, the person on the phone will have received specific training for helping you make an identification. Hey, no problem at all. If you don't know that individual's name, we're still going to help you tell on them. Okay, you say it was a white guy? That narrows the search down. Blonde hair and blue eyes. Anything else? A teardrop tattoo and a generic tribal tattoo on his neck. Nope, it's not ringing a bell. I don't know who the hell that is. Sounds like at least 15 people we've got on our caseload. Hello? Hello? Are you there? Hung up on me. I like how they say that, probation officers are specifically trained to help you make an identification, even if you don't know that individual's name. I wonder if there's any truth to that. And then the fifth and final piece to this puzzle says, contact the probation officer. Folks, we have another person talking to another person. None of these people match any of the previous pictures. So this woman is smiling. I'm guessing she must be the informant. And I don't know who in the hell she is talking to. Because I don't know any probation officer that wears what looks like a police hat. But then again, it makes sense. Okay, it might be a little funny, but it makes sense because there's a lot of POs that be thinking they the police for real. You're not. You're a probation officer. You may have the authority to get me locked up, but do you actually have the authority to put the handcuffs on me? If you don't, then why are you wearing a police hat? I need to redraw the pictures for this. I might actually do that. Contact the probation officer. You will either be transferred to or given the name of the appropriate probation officer. You can call yourself or request to be transferred. And that's it. They make it sound simple enough. So for anybody who doesn't know how to snitch, Wikipedia lays it out right here. Folks, there's also other interesting things about this article, and that is down below they've got the community, the Q&A. A lot of people ask questions in relation to this article, and some people actually ask some really good questions. Maybe we can address those in upcoming videos, like how do I find out who my probation officer is? That was a good question. How do I find out the probation office that I need to report to here in the state of Georgia? That's a good question. And then this person who says, is there an anonymous way to contact a probation officer? Oh, you ready to tell something? You ready? And somebody answered that saying, usually a phone call, in my experience. Whoever's answering this has done their fair share of telling. If you are calling to report a violation, the PO may need your name and number in case you are needed in court. Another reason the PO may need your information is to ensure you are not filing a false complaint, which could cost the county a substantial amount of money. What about the individual who gets locked up for something they didn't do? Hopefully they're talking about with that substantial amount of money, the lawsuit that could ensue afterwards. If you ask, they will maintain your anonymity to the best of their ability. 15 snitches like this, 10 people said boo. Folks, I wanted to share all of this with you, and I really want to know what you guys think about this. Nobody, please, put any of this to use at all. It's crazy what you can find on the internet, especially when you're not even looking for it. And this article that I just shared with you guys is a perfect example of just that. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about all of this. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace! Mr. Guerrero! Shut your ass up.